our students. They come first, and they've been coming first really from the foundation of the school.
Academy Prep is more than a school to me because it's like a second home.
Academy Prep supports us by always just being a call away, or they'll always just be by your side.
When you're here, the teachers say you're like their kids, so they're gonna watch over you and protect you.
They try to help people in this community to get more education and opportunities that we'll need in the future.
As a parent, I am continually impressed with the efforts that Academy Prep has taken to break the cycles of poverty into which so many families in our community are born.
My hopes and my dreams and my hopes and aspirations for every student is for them to become successful young men and women in society.
We will move mountains to be able to see our children be able to conquer their fears, to be able to overcome their challenges. That is what Academy Prep is.
China has identified the cause of the
mysterious new virus.
The first U.S. case has been detected.
The Department of Health announced that there are 2 presumptive positive cases of coronavirus disease in the state of Florida.
The 2 zip codes with the highest number of coronavirus cases in all of Pinellas County.
Across the country, at least 21 million kids now home from school. And while many schools are adding distance learning, that only works if every child has access.
We were approaching March. We were finishing our 3rd quarter when we found out that students weren't going to be able to be on campus. How are we going to be sure that our kids aren't going to suffer through this? That's something that's important to all of us.
When I first heard about coronavirus, I was nervous.
At first, I was kind of scared because I didn't know what it was, and they said it was really dangerous.
And I was like, wow, this thing is really serious, and people are really getting sick, and people are really dying. And we started hearing about shutdowns. My focus kind of shifted, like, what are we gonna do? What are my kids gonna do as far as going to school and maintaining their education?
But if you look at Pinellas County numbers, for example, and where the hardest hit zones were for COVID, the hardest hit zone was 33712. That's just a fact. The pandemic put a special type of pain on all families. And the reason why that's so important to understand is that if you have equity, then it's hard to understand that equitable lens. But we have to be honest about the fact that if you have means, that although it's still painful, it's not the same level of challenges that you experience when you don't have equity.
When it came to the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. And our families, a lot of them were in survival mode. They had to make hard and tough decisions.
How can we help our students persevere through this challenge when we don't even know what's ahead of us? We don't know what COVID means. We don't know what that's going to mean to our families. So how do we make sure that we put our students first, but also the safety of their entire family?
It is hard to pivot when the model for Academy Prep is literally be here all day long, be here most of the year. And so to have to convert that into homes during a pandemic with challenges in some homes, and to have to provide the same level of academic excellence, knowing that, again, there's some mental health components for any student who has to transition from a face-to-face environment to a virtual space where it's more challenging for them for a number of reasons.
One of the ingredients to us is that we just did not give up. We just said, no, we're going to keep all these ingredients in the virtual environment and we're going to do the best we can. And we did.
At our school, it was very, very clear from the beginning. The administration knew the best thing was to keep our scholars at home and interact in a virtual platform to keep everybody safe.
I knew that we would have to go over and beyond our regular call of duty. I used to receive calls from parents to let me know, hey, I'm at work. Could you please check on my child for me? And without hesitation, I jumped in my car and I went out there to make sure and to ensure that our students were doing what they were supposed to do.
Even though Academy Prep has always faced challenges, we are definitely overcomers.
COVID and this pandemic was just another obstacle in our 25-year history. It was a significant obstacle. But our kids are used to challenges. They know how to meet a challenge, to pivot, and to push through.
It's kind of hard to do that when you know you're going to be home virtually and you don't have the equipment.
Gary and I have been supporters of Academy Prep for a long time.
My parents were teachers, and Trevor's father is a professor. So supporting education has always been very important to us.
In order to have a community that can thrive, we need to make sure that there's great education across the economic spectrum. But when the pandemic hit, we knew we had to do more, and we had to really find a way to make sure that these kids who are on such an amazing path didn't lose the momentum that they had.
Trevor and Gary stepped up and they said, "What do you need?" And we were very quick with our response. We need technology. And they delivered.
We ended up donating the money for Chromebooks so that the kids had access to the technology they needed to succeed with remote learning.
Having the uniform Chromebooks was such a blessing.
I was very excited when I got my first Chromebook because it was my first computer. And I got even more excited when they told us that we were going to be able to have those Chromebooks with us as we go on in life.
When I first got my Chromebook, it made me feel like the school cared enough for our education and to make sure we had the materials and devices we need.
Consistency is a huge aspect of Academy Prep.
Even though we were on virtual school, Academy Prep was still able to get everybody together in the morning to have convocation.
Having convocation first thing in the morning, having that virtual platform where we're still all able to pray together in the morning. We still were saying our AP pledge. Those things were still happening. We were able to continue our enrichment programs. And one of the biggest things, I think, was keeping face-to-face learning. It wasn't face-to-face in person, but we were all on a Zoom or a Google Meet together. Our scholars were fantastic. I'm just so impressed by them and how they persevered through this time.
I am so thankful that those Chromebooks were donated to Academy Prep because we could not have accomplished the goals that we had in front of us without those Chromebooks going home.
And then quickly after, many other members in the community stepped forward and said, "What else do you need? How else can we support?" It was beautiful to see the community come forward knowing that we were going to go through some hard times, knowing that there would be challenges, and they were right there ready to support in any way, shape, or form. Volunteers, donors, trustees, everybody said, "I'm here for you." I can only imagine how that made our scholars feel. Valued, supported, loved, and that they matter.
I honestly wholeheartedly believe that Academy Prep has made the right decisions and when it comes to the interests of my children. It may have not always been the easiest thing to follow through with or the easiest thing to adjust to, but I know in the end that the staff here has my children's best interest at heart.
What I tell employees that want to work at Academy Prep is that this is not a job, but this is something that means something to you in your heart. And that children are first, and they have to be. If you're at Academy Prep, it's because you love children and you want to see them be successful, and that we put them first in everything.
Academy Prep means to me home. Academy Prep means family, and Academy Prep to me means future.
Our students rise because of the village that they're in. And that only works because we have people who support us, who believe in the mission, who believe in what we're doing, and they believe in this change that we're trying to achieve, at least for the Academy Prep students, and hopefully for their families and families after that.
And I really call on other members of our community, other members of the business community, to think about how they can help, how they can focus their charitable giving to the next generation, and especially to our underserved communities.
We cannot do what we do without the support of our community partners and our donors. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for standing with us this year and always.